Hello everyone, my name is Stephanie Pukuji. I'm a student of UTPL in the course English Syntax. I'm from group 100. Today I'm going to talk agreements and government cases using an anecdote that I create. So the colors that I'm going to use to differentiate agreement and governments are the ones that you are seeing in the screen. So here we have my story. The title is My First Time Learning English After High School. So like you can see here, I underline the agreements that I have in my story. But first, we need to understand that agreement that is called that is also called concord are the relationship between the different elements of a sentence or a phrase, mainly between noun phrases and verb phrases. Also, we have two different types of agreements. The one is formal agreement that is based on grammar structure, and the other one is national agreements that is based on meaning. So now let's focus on my story. So the first agreement that I have is Mr. Williams is British and Charlotte is American. So like you can see here, this is a formal agreement based on grammar, which means that Mr. Williams could be replaced by he, and he is the third person of the singular. So that's why I'm going to use is. And the same is for Charlotte. If I replace Charlotte by she, we have the third person of the singular, so I have to use is. Here I have I am used to hearing. I is the first person of the in the present simple, so I have to use am instead of using is or are. So the next agreement that I found in my story is the group of students who transcribe the story quickly and as closely as possible to the original is the winning group. So in this sentence, I put like agreement because one of the rules of agreement is that we have to check the word that is before the prepositional of. We have the group, which means is singular. So that's why here in the sentence we have the verb is instead of are. Since it's just one group, we have is. Okay, then we have Mr. William classes are more formal. Here we are talking about the classes that are in plural. We are not talking about Mr. Williams. That's why we use are. That's why I consider this as an agreement. The next one is he focuses on grammar. So here we have the third person of the singular. In this case, we have the verb focus. Since is in the third person of the singular, we need to add the es to enable the sentence to be grammatically correct. Now we have the next one, that is he managed to make it fun. It's the same. We have here the third person of the singular. We have the verb manage. Since they have the relation with the he, we add s to make the grammatical rule correct. Here we have Mr. Williams and Charlotte occasionally invite friends or relatives to share experience. But here in this case, Mr. Williams and Charlotte could be replaced by they. So this means there are plural. In this case, we have the verb invite, and we don't add anything because they have to keep in this. Then we have the sentence, in return, my classmates and I bring Ecuadorian treats. Here is the same. My classmate and I could be replaced by we bring Ecuadorian treats. Since we is plural, we also keep the verb in their base form without add anything. The next sentence is the guests are patient and correct as necessary. The guests are in plural, so that's why we use are. We don't use is or we don't use am, since they are making this sentence incorrect grammatically. Then we have weekly presentation. Here we have we as a plural, so we use have instead of has, since it's a plural, and that is the rule. Michelle, a classmate, gives the cookies to the class. In this case, Michelle is the third person of a singular. We replace with she. That's why in the verb give, we add the s to make a correct sentence. The same here. She explains, we add the s to make the correct sentence. So that's all for agreements. Like you can see, most of the agreements that I use in my story are formal agreements, since they are based on grammar structures instead of notional agreements that based on meaning. Now let's talk about. So now I'm going to talk about the governments that I found or I wrote in my anecdote. But government refers to the relationship between the words and its dependents. In this case, government is referred as to case, and case is referred to the grammatical relationship of nouns, pronouns with other words in the sentence. So we have three main distinctions in English pronouns. So the first one that I'm going to show you is nominative case, that here in my anecdote is with the color purple. So nominative case refers to the nouns or pronouns that are used as subject. For example, here I have my teachers. Teacher is the subject. Mr. Williams and Charlotte, still the subject, both native speakers. Here I have another subject. Mr. Williams is a subject. And also we have a subject as complement that is British. The same for Charlotte is a noun. And a subject, a noun, a complement is American. I divide my story in three parts to have a better look of the words that I'm going to explain. So the second case in this government is the genitive case. This is known as possessive case because here we use apostrophes to let the reader, to understand that that object belongs to the subject that is first in the sentence. So in this case, like I show you, I have in green my genitive case. Here we have in this case Charlotte's activities. We are talking about the activities of Charlotte. Also here we found sometimes my classmates' transcriptions ended up creating entirely different stories. So in this sentence, my classmates' transcription, the transcription of my classmate, the transcription belonged to my classmate. That's why we use the apostrophe and the S after the S. Here also have Mr. Williams' classes, which means the classes of Mr. William are more formal. We are talking about the classes that belong to Mr. Williams, not to Charlotte. Okay, so this is the second part of my story. Like I mentioned before, I have nominative cases in purple that are pronouns or nouns that are used as subject in the sentence. So we have here Mr. Williams and Charlotte occasionally invite friends or relatives to share experience. So Mr. Williams and Charlotte are nouns that we use as subject. Here also we have my classmates and I. These also are nouns that we use as subject. And my classmates that I can replace by them, by they, are nouns. Now, in this case, we don't have genitive case, but we have datative case and indirect object. Okay, so accusative or datative case refers to the use of objective nouns or pronouns that receive the action in the sentence. So in this case, I have indirect object in the sentence that is a noun phrase or a noun of pronouns that is considered the beneficiary of the action of the verb. In this case, we have allowing us to become familiar with the language. The verb is allowing. Okay, so the verb is allowing. So the beneficiary of that action in this case is us. That's why I put it like indirect object. Here in this part, we have also us. The guesses are patient and correct us when necessary. We have the verb correct, and also we have that is the beneficiary is us, that we receive that action. So we have here an oblique object that is who received the action after a preposition of phrase. In this case, to the class. Here, Michelle, a classmate, gives the cookie to the class. So the group that is receiving the action in this case, that who is receiving the cookies from Michelle, are the class. That's why we use to the class, and that is an oblique object that is inside of the accusative case. So that's all for this video. Thank you for watching.